At 5 years old, I didn't quite understand what was happening. I remember being surrounded in a sea of white and the mood was solemn. I was giving my mother a hard time. I just wouldn't sit still. She was crying, so I figured it must be serious. We sat on a dais as Tok Tam's lying in state took place. There were a lot of people that morning who came to pay their respects at the parliament. To my family, it was the day we mourned the loss of our father and grandfather. But to the country, they mourned the loss of their Bapa Kemerdekaan. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today on Tok Tam's birthday to celebrate the launch of the Institute of Democracy and Economic Affairs, or IDEAS in short. I'm honored to be part of this event and proud to know that even after 20 years of his passing, there are those who still remember and are inspired by him. Indeed, Tok had a vision of a different Malaysia, and I believe if he were alive today, he would pick up blogging. Here you see Tunku cradling me as a baby. My mother was adamant that I crop out his legs because she thought it was inappropriate. His legs were aching, so he had ointment rubbed on them, but I insisted on showing the whole picture. It showed him as any other great-grandfather, who would be alive, that is. Pants rolled up, just chilling, enjoying his moment with his baby great-granddaughter. He was not the dashing prime minister he used to be. I feel like this picture embodies everything that he was to me, my great-grandfather. My generation has underestimated how much Tok had sacrificed for his country. I feel that Tok's legacy has somewhat been forgotten. My mother, his eldest grandchild, whom he named Intan, once said that even though Tok was Bapa Kemerdekaan, he was never a Bapa to his family. As much as he loved his family, his country always came first, and even in the twilight of his life, he kept on writing and advising his people to understand and accept each other. When he stepped down as Prime Minister was probably a blessing in disguise. The family now had him all to ourselves. He could be there with us for gatherings and dinners. My mother once wrote that Tunku was proud to have 4 generations in the room. I was fortunate enough to have spent time with him in his remaining years. Regardless of ethnicity, religion, or background, Tok treated everyone fairly and equally, and his joyful character was infectious to those around him. In preparing for this event, I had sifted through old newspaper clippings of his funeral, and I saw pictures of his old staff crying. They had loved him so much. I was especially close to one of his caretakers, Pakcik On, who continued to serve my family for 14 years, even after his death, and he and his wife still help around whenever my grandmother and my aunt host gatherings. Their loyalty illustrates how much Tok looked after the people around him. As kids, we were always made to sit quietly whenever Tok was around. Of course, we were itching to go out and play, so you can see in our family photos, we don't look very happy. My brother, his eldest great-grandson, fondly dubbed Tok as the Godfather. That was probably because we would always be ushered by our grandmother to go and meet him and kiss his hand as he sat comfortably on his couch. I remember visiting Tok at his Penang house to celebrate Hari Raya. Relatives came from Alustar and KL to spend time with him. It was so vibrant and cheerful then. I used to find that house scary. He had 2 huge elephant tusks to greet us at the doorway. He had a collection of canes and pipes kept in a room where he used to entertain foreign visitors. These belongings are now housed in this memorial. Having lived in KL all my life, Tok's Penang house was the closest I feel to having a kampong. As kids, we kind of had a special liking to stairs. I think it's because of the wooden creaking noises it would make when people walk up and down. They don't have that anymore. Now everything is tiled. I remember we used to play on the stairs a lot, especially my brother. One time, my brother and his friend They were playing, I think they were imitating Superman, so they were jumping off the stairs. And as my brother landed, Tok walked by and he stopped, and then he gave my brother one light knock on the head with his walking stick, and like the Kedahans would say, kena katok kepala, and walked off without saying anything. We never failed to get up to mischief. Once there was a Semangat 46 Kenduri at Jalan Tunku, and there were lots of cars parked all over our compound. We would get on our bicycles and stick summon notes on all the cars, pretending to be police officers. So Tunku Razali, I don't know if you remember as kids, but if on that particular night you saw papers on your windshield, that would be our doing. Our house at Jalan Tunku, near where Idea's office is, and where my family lived for 20 years, used to see a lot of visitors. He would host his guests in his dining room and call for my brother and I and introduce us as his great-grandchildren. He would then give us each 10 ringgit and ask us to play along now. It was fun for us whenever he came to visit from Penang. The house would be so lively and busy with people, and the helpers would be running around preparing food and attending to these guests. Plus, he would always spoil us with some pocket money. I did not know Tunku Abdul Rahman as a prime minister, but as Tok Tam. As I grew older, I read articles about him and even flicked through his books. But what caught my attention, and what made me proud to be his descendant, is the fact that he was a staunch supporter of open dialogues and balanced views. Tunku once said that the opposition party is needed to play the role of check and balance to the party in power. Even in his old age, he entertained open dialogues. My father, who's here today, recalled once during the times when Tunku was openly criticizing Tun Dr. Mahathir. Tunku had some gruff visitors to the house on Jalan Tunku, the UMNO Youth Boys, headed by none other than our current Prime Minister. They confronted Tunku, these young men, surrounding an old man on a wheelchair, and had a closed-door session with him. A few moments later, the boys walked out, smiling and content. We never quite knew what had transpired behind these doors, but I guess Tunku's charm had won them over. My great-grandfather never hid his vices, and I admire him for that. Everyone knows of his love for the horses and his occasional game of cards. My father fondly recalled of the times when he accompanied Tok while he watched football and had his nightcap. But Tunku never claimed to be a saint, and still performed his duties as a Muslim. He revived Perkim, spearheaded the building of the National Mosque, and started the annual Malaysian and international Quran reading competitions. He was a Muslim who also acknowledged his Thai Buddhist heritage. He brought over a Thai architect from Bangkok and got Chinese businessmen to donate funds for the building of a Thai temple on Jalan Gasing in PJ. Ideas gives me hope that my great-grandfather's legacy will continue on, and his values and ideals will continue to influence, inspire, and instigate the change that we need in this country. When I thought that Tunku would be forgotten, these three musketeers, Tunku Abidin, one Saiful, and one Firdaus, are reigniting Tunku's torch, lighting the way to true democracy, freedom, and upholding the rule of law above all others. This country needs people like them to stand up for what is right and speak up for our rights as citizens of Malaysia. None of our immediate family members followed in his footsteps and joined politics. He was disappointed but left them to choose their own careers. He did say that maybe his cicit would enter politics, but the two eldest ones ended up in arts instead. Since I made public of my relationship to Tunku, I have received numerous touching and inspiring comments encouraging me to write. One Civic Malaysian commented, "Tunku, I am very sure, would be very proud to have a great-granddaughter like you. And I hope that I will be able to contribute, in one way or another, to realize his ideals for a better Malaysia and to make him proud." Thank you.